The individuality of the soul says, this is the whole, this is my place and role in the whole. It's finished. The soul has spoken. Yeah? The soul feels, okay, this is the whole now. There's a crowd of people, a family, and they need joy. I am joy. I bring joy. And the ego's identification, there's a group of people here. I want joy. How do I get joy out of these people?
Basically, what I hear you ask is, once I understand what I really want from the soul, how will I fulfill it, right? It is usually already encrypted in the need. So you can contemplate the need and ask, okay, now I know what my need is. I wish to be deeply peaceful. How could I right now be deeply peaceful? What will lead me there? What will answer to this need? And then you contemplate and you see what arises. And it might be something very, very simple. It might be a more complex thing that might need a few steps and so forth. But this would be the way to go. And then, of course, you can always resort to meditation. You can do music meditations. You can meditate with the godly attributes and so forth.
Once you understand the fundamental need of the heart, you contemplate it, you stay on it. The idea is not to stay there for a second, but to give it life. You become very curious to it, and you really meditate upon it. And then from there it will come, like Blandine said, nature. I want inner balance. My soul just wants balance. I want balance, balance, balance. And then you ask your soul, how can I get balance? Nature. Okay. Every second weekend I'll go to nature. And then when you go to nature, you introduce nature to your soul. And then the nature can fulfill your soul. Or you have a profound wish to love. Then you love actively and you start to offer love. Love your mother, your father, your co-workers. Bring in love. Why you bring them love? Because your heart really longs to love. And you do that.
The soul needs don't hold a little part of ego, but rather you could say a little part of identification. So the ego is a quite complex way of identifying. You're identifying with a whole lot of limits, a whole lot of stuff. The ego is quite a complex thing to hold on to. It's a very, very defined box that you live in. At the level of the soul, you are not inside of such a box. And yet you are, as we say, a jivatman, an atman, a self born into the flesh and born into the life. So therefore you are limited by life. You are typically in one place, in one moment in time, with still a certain set of skills. You have rather a feeling of being here now than being everywhere at all times at the level of the soul. So there is a way of definition. There's a uniqueness to your soul, a way of being identified, but it is way, 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 way less complex than the ego is. But you're right, there's a little bit of identification, there's a little bit of limit within the soul. But the interesting thing is that that limit is so little that it will, as you dive around in your soul, actually disappear on the way.
Yes, the soul holds a very simple individuality. As Blandine mentioned, it's a very simple individuality, what the individuality says. The individuality of the soul says, this is the whole, this is my place and role in the whole. It's finished. The soul has spoken. Yeah? The soul feels, okay, this is the whole now. There's a crowd of people, a family, and they need joy. I am joy. I bring joy. Where do I bring joy? From the self. I bring joy. It's very, very simple. And the ego's identification, there's a group of people here. I want joy. How do I get joy out of these people? Well, I'll manipulate this one and get this one. And it becomes very, very, as Blandine said, very, very complicated. The soul stays in the root, in between the self or the absolute and manifestation. It is the connective point. And it holds an individuality which is so simple that we can't really call it ego. We can't really call it, it's for sure not selfish. It's just a piece that knows its place in the whole, but also knows that it's a piece. And as we dive deeper into the self is self-fulfilled. It is everywhere at once, and it holds its very nature. Sachit Ananda, it has the nature of bliss. What is bliss is the complete absence of non-satisfaction. Yeah, complete absence. The self is beyond needs.
Start by accepting. Accept where you're at, accept your family, accept the situation, accept that you would like to love, but it's difficult to love. Accept. This is the first stage always. Then work on the inside first. When you come closer to your soul, you come closer to feeling love, to feeling the light within you, to feel pure consciousness, then it will be very easy to also see that also in other people it is like that. They might not be behaving in that way. They might be more identified with the periphery of the being rather than the core, but you can see that core nevertheless, and then you can even relate to that core and encourage that core to awaken. As you don't get triggered by their peripheral behaviors somehow. But start by accepting and then do the inner work and gradually, step by step, go there.
Yeah, I want to add, I have a very Christian Catholic answer.
The Jew has a Catholic
answer. Yeah, the Jew
answer.
has a Catholic. What helps me when I'm very judgmental towards another person, and I feel very blocked and so forth, then I think about all my faults. And I think about all the terrible things that I've done to people throughout my life. And I've done some bad things. And then I think how I would like to be forgiven for the faults that I have now and for the mistakes I've done before. And then I look at this person and his mistakes don't look so big anymore. And then I think, why don't I start by forgiving that person for being as they are, because I am as I am. And it softens me. So it is like a trick, if you want. But for me personally, it helps. And then it also helps me to remember from time to time my faults, because I like not to think about them. But when I see someone else's faults, and I think, oh, look how angry they are. And then I remember the times that I was angry and all the stupid things I said and all the people I hurt. And I said, well, I really want to be forgiven for that. Maybe I forgive this person for being angry at me. And that's a good start. Yeah, so for me it helps.
In nonviolent communication, there's this method of looking at other people and then saying to yourself, just like me, this person has suffered. Just like me, this person is looking for happiness. Just like me, this person is human. And just like me, they have a soul, and so on and so forth. So you can check that out, nonviolent communication. They have this exercise that is helpful.
Yes.
The process is referred to sometimes as spiritual bypass, and it is when the ego snatches certain parts of the spiritual teachings and then actually creates a whole another loop of problem on top. In this case, like she described, like another layer of judgment and so forth. So it is therefore even said in Kulanava Tantra that the only way that we can actually get enlightened is by the absolutely conscious fulfillment of our desires. And that would start by, okay, I'm at the moment at the periphery. Okay, let me be conscious in the periphery first. If I do have the drive for the piece of cake, okay, let me be conscious in that. Then the next thing that will happen is then I become conscious of my ambitions. Okay, interesting. And then gradually, one way is to fulfill them and be conscious in it, like this story of Ramakrishna. Who you tell it better?
I tell it better. Yeah. So Ramakrishna, for example, when he would have a desire, for example, to have this very nice robe with a golden string and to smoke the hubble bubble, to smoke, through water.
Water pipe.
A little water pipe. Yes. In Old English it's called hubble bubble. So he had a rich friend and he says, please get me that. So his rich friend, the Matur Babu, bought him this cloth with the golden string and the hubble, and he lied on the back like some sheikh, and he fulfilled his desire. And man, it's really stupid. He took the clothes off and stepped on it. This is what a stupid desire. But he fulfilled it, and he had 3-4 more other desires that he mentioned, and he says, this is what you should do, guys. You should fulfill it, see the emptiness of it, and push it aside. Get rid of it, continue.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it has to be taken into consideration what your desire is. Now, if you have something that will hurt 20 people, maybe you don't rush for it, but maybe it is possible, as you're already into the spiritual path, just to contemplate, okay, where's this drive coming from? Or hurting yourself in some hideous way. So contemplate that first. Okay, where's this coming from? What does this actually want? Oh, I'm trying to hurt myself here because I want to be good. I want to be righteous. That's what this is actually about. And then, of course, it would be, if this can be done, it would be easier to go through it inwardly and then gradually come closer to the light. But yeah, definitely a piece of cake is nothing that will kill anyone. So it can be helpful to actually be present with that. And when you are eating cake while there is no deeper reason to eat that cake, then with the third or fourth spoon, as you are being conscious, you will realize, well, yeah, okay, it's a piece of cake. It's not more and it's not less, because the thing with desires is that we have a story, a conditioning in our mind that makes us believe that it is more than that. But it is just a piece of cake. And as much as when our guilt kicks in and says, it's a piece of cake, it's the end of the world, I overstepped the limit, it's, oh my God, look at me, I'm the worst worm in the world. No, you had a piece of cake, right? So when you become conscious, then things just set themselves straight in both directions. You understand this is not the glory of what I thought it is. This one-night stand did not help me awaken my soul. This new computer device did not hold all the promises that I thought it would hold in fulfilling me in the depth of my being. Very good. And then you understand, and then it takes the place that it has. It's a cake. It's a computer. I use it at times. That's what it is. That's all it is, really. And then you gradually can move to the center. So this is absolutely part of this path of consciously dealing with desires as well. So it is absolutely correct not to demonize what you feel, but to utilize what you feel and then to learn from it. Also here, listen attentively. Where's this wish to be vital coming from? Is it really your wish? Is it something you absorb from the outside? Why are you absorbing stuff from the outside? Again, go to the deeper thing. And then go to the deeper thing of wanting to vitalize. Probably you want to vitalize in order to be more harmonious, be feeling more strong. Why do you want that? Well, to be more happy and so forth. And then within that, your system will know what to do to vitalize. When you become intimately aware that it is a deep wish to vitalize, it is much more likely you're going to be vital. And that inner knowing might say, you know what? Food will only do that much. It will help you a little, but food will only do that much. What you need is a daily moment of deep inspiration. And then all of a sudden you will actually assimilate because you are in an inspired state. Or for you, it's important to breathe deeply in the forest on top of whatever nice foods you might be eating. For you, you need actually these 5 nutrients. You need a session with an Ayurvedic doctor. It will arise from within you a whole lot of inspiration to get to a more vital state when it is coming from this place inside that really wishes for it, rather than sort of bossing yourself around in it. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.